Hello and welcome to this new video. In the previous video, we implemented our basic voice chat management system on a dedicated server, so we configured and tested the voice chat user login to the voice server. So we can continue our work to test the join, leave and logout processes. In this video, we will create an EOS voice chat room for each team, so each player will be able to join the team room to be able to chat with his teammates. The problem is therefore to manage the join and leave of the voice chat room throughout the match because the team can change as long as the session is not started. This therefore implies a change of team room when an incomplete team is merged with another team to form a complete team. In the case of a general voice chat, therefore a voice chat room for all players, the process is therefore simpler. In this video I will show you how to manage the most difficult situation, therefore the management of voice chat rooms for teams. So you can finally add other voice chat rooms if you want. To keep things simple in this tutorial, I want the player to be in only one room, so the team room. The first thing to know is that the join and leave tasks fail if they are called while other join or leave processes are running. In this case, you will see in the log that the OSS target has triggered a join in progress or leave in progress error. To avoid this error, we will implement a pending voice chat system. That is, when a client requests to join or leave a room, his request will be put on hold while other join or leave processes are running. To do this, the implementation consists of storing the join requests in a variable when the join process is called instead of performing the join process directly. So add a custom event that runs on the client and is used to add the room to join to a waiting list. Add a variable representing this waiting list, so an array of voice chat room structure type. Update this variable when the event is called. Call the event we just created when the join process is called. We will do the same for the leave process. So add a custom event that runs on the client and is used to update the list of room names to leave. Add a variable representing the array of room names to leave. Update the value of this variable when this event is called and then call this event when the leave process is called. In order to know that a join or leave process is being executed, then we will therefore use booleans which allow us to obtain this information. So add a boolean which will be true if a join process is running and false otherwise. Set its value to true just before calling the join voice chat task. Be careful, this variable must be true only if the join condition is validated before calling the task. Once the task is finished, reset its value to false regardless of the state of the task callback. If the join task is successfully completed, we must remove this room from the waiting list. Be careful, this step is essential, otherwise the join process loops on this room and therefore the other rooms on the waiting list will not be processed. I want to recombine the input structure. This allows me to connect it directly to the remove node. We must do the same regarding the leave process. So add a boolean which will be true only if a leave process is currently being executed. Likewise, set its value to true just before calling the task. Once the task is executed, we reset its value to false. Same, we have to remove this room from the waiting list. Now add a function that is used to process the waiting list of rooms to join. The join process is called only if the list length is greater than 0. and also if there is not a join process running. If the condition is true, then we call the custom event which is used to join a voice chat room. The voice chat room to pass to this event must be the element at index 0 of the array. Remember that the join process will remove this element from the array when finished. Duplicate this function to handle the case of rooms to leave. Replace the array and boolean with the correct ones. If the condition is true, then call the leave custom event. We must now initialize the timers which are used to call these two functions continuously. So add a custom event that runs on the client and is used to initialize these two timers. This event will therefore be called by the child player controller. Set a timer by function name by giving it the name of the function and checking the looping box. Duplicate the timer to give it the name of the second function. Now we need to start implementing the system for creating voice chat rooms for Teams. Add a custom event that is used to ask the server to ask the client to join a voice chat room. This event must run on the server, because it is the dedicated server that is used to provide the room credentials to the client and then ask the client to join the room with these credentials. Call the task Get Voice Chat Room Credentials, dedicated to EOS OSS. Remember that each OSS has its own way to create and generate the room credentials to the client. Also, remember that this node creates the room if it does not exist. This task must be provided with the dedicated server artifact from the project settings. Go to your project settings, then copy and paste the corresponding fields. You can also define a variable of type EOS artifact to keep them if you want. Once done, connect the other inputs to the event. If the task is complete, then we must call the join interface function, giving it the room credentials. Make sure you call the join function of the interface, and not the join custom event. This allows you to add the room to join to the waiting list. Connect other inputs to the event. Because not all game modes need to support a team voice chat, I will create a boolean telling the master player controller if it should create a team voice chat or not. So add a boolean that will be updated by the child player controller. Add a custom event which is used to ask the server to create and join a team voice chat room on client. We only proceed if the variable should create voice chat for team is true. Since the team name is unique, I want to use that same name to be the name of the team room. Call the game instance to get the client's player card in order to pass this information to the server when requesting credentials. Now call the server's custom event to request the room's credentials and then join it on the client. A team's room type must be non-positional. The client IP is optional, but recommended because the voice server uses this IP to find the closest server to the client according to its public IP. So I want to add this info in the player card structure. Once added, connected the corresponding pin. Click Save All, because when you modify a structure, all the reference objects must be compiled and saved. Be careful, you must go into each reference object and compile it, otherwise, you will have errors when packaging the project. I will show you how to fix them later. Go to your game instance to provide the client IP of the player card when the getPlayerInfo function is called. In the init event, call the easy OSS task, getPublicExternalIP, then promote its output to variable. Go to the getPlayerInfo function, then connect this variable to the output structure. Since the team can change as long as the dedicated session is not started, the best place to call the custom event that joins the team voice chat is whenever the player team from server variable changes. Before calling the custom event, we must check that the variable is changed, in other words, the current team is changed. Remember that the update of this variable is done via a timer. The implementation therefore consists of comparing the team obtained from the server with the current team from the variable. We must also verify that the current team is valid. Select the implementation, then collapse it to a function. The function should return true if the player's team was changed, and false otherwise. It must also return the old team to proceed with the process of leaving this old team voice chat. If the team is changed, then we must call the interface function that puts the old voice chat team on the waiting list of rooms to leave. If the team is not changed, then we still call the join process. Anyway, the join process does not execute if the player is already a member of the room. So no worries. We must now go to the child player controller. In our case, it is the player controller of World 2. We must specify that it must create voice chat rooms for teams. Thus, it must process the join and leave requests. In the begin play event, set the value of the variable should create voice chat for team to true. Then assign the event dispatcher on voice chat login complete. Once the voice chat user is logged in, we must call the event of the parent class, which is used to initialize the two timers which process the join and leave requests. There is one important thing left. I draw your attention that the voice chat room name must not contain white spaces. Otherwise, the task that requests the creation and credentials of a room will fail. This is because EOS voice chat room does not support names containing spaces. So go to the master game mode, then to the create team function, and check that the team name provided does not contain spaces. Remember that we use the team name as a room name. Before creating and joining a team room, we must also check that the voice chat user is not already a member of this room. We have already done this check during the join process, but the fact of doing it also here is to avoid the continuous generation of credentials on the server side. Go to the child player controller. We must proceed to the logout of the voice chat user on the end play, otherwise, the player can hear the voice of his teammates for a few seconds when he leaves the match. So we want to avoid this scenario. Add a custom event that runs on the client and is used to log out the voice chat user. You can alternatively do a leave voice chat for all the rooms the player is in. I show you how to do it. For each room, call the interface function that puts the room on the waiting list. I advise you not to use this solution, because there is no guarantee that the leave process will finish before the destruction of the player controller. The best solution is therefore to proceed to the logout directly. For a test purpose, I want to display on the screen the number of rooms that the player is part of. This allows me to check that the leave process of an old team room works well, and also that the join of a new voice chat room is okay. I want to increase the looping time of the timer used to get the player team from server to 1 second. Now launch a dedicated server instance and 2 client instances. Start a dedicated match on player 1's side. You will see that the player has joined a team voice chat. If you look at the server-side logs, you will find the credentials requested by the client. Likewise, start a dedicated match on player 2's side. You will see that the player has joined a team voice chat. If you look at the server-side logs, you will find the credentials requested by the client. You will see that the number of rooms on player 1's side has gone to 0 then to 1, because his team has been merged with player 2's team, so he left the old voice chat then he joined the voice chat of the new team. If you speak, you should hear your voice, because we are testing on the same machine. We will repeat the test by connecting a multiplayer lobby to the dedicated server. And there you have it, only one voice chat room was created because the team is full. Same, if you speak you have to hear your own voice. Try to leave the match on a player's side, then join it again. And there you have it, Player 1's team has been merged with Player 2's team. This implies a leave voice chat on Player 1's side, then a new join for the new room. We saw that an error message appeared. This is normal because these processes are likely to fail, but our waiting list system catches up with the failure. Go back to the child player controller and delete the test nodes. I want to remove the display of error messages, because with our implementation, the code retries on failure until the join or leave processes are executed successfully. It is useful to display a retry message if your game does not support an automatic retry system. That's all for this video. See you in the next one.